Hi everyone, Georgie here, Community Manager for AKISC, welcoming you all for the next session of our expert talk with Ekansh. Ekansh is a really interesting story where he started his journey right from being a lead business analyst to the Vice President of Students' Union for a prominent UK-based university, and I would like to know more about that story, your journey so far, how you have started, and then how you are right now doing, and your future so far. So maybe, Ekansh, if you can give a small introduction about you, it would be really helpful for our community members to know. Yeah, please.
Right, thank you, Georgie. As you know, I'm Ekansh, and I'm the Vice President Academic at University of York, uh, which has two student unions. One is for undergraduates and one is for postgraduates, and they both work very much collaboratively with the university. And yeah, it was a really complicated journey, you can say, starting working part time with one of the food chain in UK, Dominos, and then starting mentoring with the university, and then running for the election and getting elected as a vice president. So yeah, it was a crazy journey, but here we are now.
Got it. So maybe first question is, so you were a working professional in India sometime ago, and then you went to UK for your higher studies. So what exactly motivated you for pursuing that education? I think, if I'm not wrong, you have done your masters in finance and business. So maybe can you share some thoughts on that particular direction, and then we'll go further from there.
Right, of course. So I was very keen with finance industry since the very beginning, because I also did my undergraduation with commerce, and then I pursued the certified market professional course in finance sector from National Stock Exchange. And then I started working within finance industry in India. And later on, I realized that if I need a good jump, a good kickstart with my career, I need to go for the higher studies for masters, no matter whether it's from some prominent university in India or outside India. But fortunately, I got opportunity from a Russell Group University, a good Russell Group University from outside India. So I went there. I grabbed the opportunity, but I think it doesn't make any difference from which country you pursue your post graduation. But it should be a good university. That's what matters.
Understood. Okay. So then I think furthermore you went in, and then you had your education started, and then you mentioned that you got an opportunity to work with one of the largest food chain, Dominos. So what was your intention there? Was it uh, just to manage your finances, or was it again getting to know about the work culture in UK, and how was that whole scenario in that particular time?
So as I mentioned, it was a very crazy journey, and actually it was because when I entered UK, the UK was in lockdown. So for 4 months, we are not even allowed to leave our house without if we do not have any reason to leave our house, we cannot leave. So that was the situation at that point of time. So in 4 months, I already exhausted all my savings, which I brought, uh, which I did when I was working in India. I already exhausted all my savings in those 4 months. So anyway, I have to go. Once the lockdown was lifted up, I had to go out to work anywhere to get bread and butter for myself. So that's when I started working for Domino's, and then for like approximately 2 or 3 months, I worked for them, and I was still finding some subtle part-time opportunities which can complement my career in future, because this food chain experience was not at all will be complementing any time in my career. So that was the idea. That's why I left it within like 2 or 3 months, and I grabbed one more opportunity with the University of Mentoring before running into the selection. So yeah, that was the scenario.
Okay, so can you share that transition from that food chain to becoming the mentor for those university programs? Can you share some thoughts?
Of course. Yes. So we used to receive many newsletters from the student unions. So there used to be a lot of information which students tends to ignore, and I also used to ignore. I never read all the newspapers thoroughly, and there so in those newspaper, a lot of information is dumped, valuable information about employment, part-time employment, your studies, your study support, academic support, writing skills, and different offers which you can get by freelancing for the university, and all of that by participating in several projects of the university. I tend to ignore like other students do. But fortunately, I read one of the newspaper in which it was advertised that university needs a mentor for their short programs which they run for the global engagement, and I applied for it. And yeah, I got a call from them after they saw my CV. I got a call, and they interviewed me, and they hired me for the short program. So during the first session, once I was a bit, it was challenging because you are mentoring students who don't know English well, you know, and when English is your second language, it becomes even more difficult. So for me, English is my own second language, and I am mentoring other students who are not good in English, and I have to mentor in English. So which was a bit challenging because my first batch was the students from Japan, but my colleagues who were mentoring with me guided me well during the first session or first two sessions. They guided me well. From then onwards, it became really easy mentoring the students on those programs, whether they are creative learning programs, English language programs, and there were a lot of programs for a lot of different universities. Uh, I do remember few of the programs. One was for the Shiba University and one was for the Ritsumeikan University in Japan. So, and there were programs in Hong Kong and all other places uh, with which universities trying to engage and they don't have good engagement at this point of time. So that was the idea behind mentoring. That was the process. But then suddenly I got opportunity again. As I said, I started reading the newsletters. When I got this opportunity, I got to know the value among those newsletters. So I started reading these newsletters on weekly basis. And in these newsletters only I got to know about the opportunity of election. And then I did my research onto that. And then I found out it is very much similar to India, that how you run into an election in India of student union. It's very similar. It's on a big scale. It's not a union of a college, but of a university. So there are tons of thousands of students. So you have to be well prepared with your campaigning and everything. But I got to know on time, so I started preparing for it on time. So that's when I started shifting my concentration, leaving my even leaving my academics a little behind for this role, uh, which led me a bit complication with marks of one of my module. But yeah, uh, later on I recovered from that stuff. But then I ran for the election. Then there was one more complication. So technically now I am the vice president of the student union while studying in the student union, not after graduating. Although you become a sabbatical officer after graduating, because it's a full-time job and you are doing a full-time studies.
Right.
So now I was a full-time employee and a full-time student. I cannot continue without them.
Correct.
And being an international student, my visa only allows me to work for 20 hours a week, but my job requires me to work for 40 hours a week. So that was a complication which arrived. But yeah, a trustee board of the union and the other staff members were very supportive. So I worked for 20 hours a week only, a few months, and then I converted it into 40 hours a week. Although I used to volunteer whenever they need me, whenever they require me, and whenever it is important for me to be there. I used to volunteer myself. But yeah, if we talk about the finances, then yeah, I used to receive only part-time salary, even while working for full-time. So that was the scenario. For a few months, it was that kind of scenario. And then from January onwards, once my studies were finished, once my post-graduation was completed, they switched me into a full-time employee. And now I am on the sabbatical officer visa.
Got it. So can you give some idea about what were the major responsibilities involved in being that vice president of students union? Can you give some idea on that?
So it's a big position. Of course, you have a responsibility of 23,000 students, and you alone have to be responsible for it, accountable for it. So it is challenging, but it is quite interesting as well, because every day you are facing new challenges, you are having new experiences. It's not, your job is not same every day. It is very different. Like tomorrow will be very different than today. So it is that kind of a job. So it is very much interesting. If I talk about what the sabbatical officers do, the president and vice presidents do, so they attend all the committees and subcommittees meeting of the university to represent the students, and they are valued because they are the member of the senate, they are the member of the committees, they have the vote share, they have the vote count, and their voice is the loudest in the university. Because if the student union sabbatical officer is resisting, is denying, then university has to listen to him. Or if they are approaching for having some work done, university still has to listen to them. So their voice is quite loud in the university because it's not their own voice. So my voice is not my own voice. My voice is these students who are standing behind me and elected me. It's their voice, whatever I'm speaking. My words are not mine when I'm speaking on that position. So that is so. For example, for me, it is like I sit in approximately 180 uh, meetings of committees and subcommittees and groups and subgroups throughout the year, which you can calculate. It's a quite a lot, 180. And then you have to engage with the staff team, delivering all the. So I have 20 members of staff supporting me in the background, in which I have a research team, I have a representation team, and then events team, and then there is a chief executive who is controlling all the teams within our staff members, and then we have a trustee board who runs the organization. We have a student council whom we are responsible for the representation part. So we are accountable to the council. Yesterday only I was attending one of the council meeting and I submitted my report, what I was doing since past 2 months. So I have to be accountable for everything. Like recently, I'll tell you, I ran a campaign in the beginning of the year for waiving of the continuation fee of the research students. So we got successful in securing the funds of £90,000 from the university for waiving of the continuation fee, which is, if I can calculate it in Indian currency, it is 90 lakh rupees, 1 CR approximately. And so the continuation fee of one PGR student is approximately £350. That means 35,000 rupees.
Can you give some idea about what exactly is continuation fee so that our audience will get an idea?
So yeah, so for the PhD, the given time period in which you can technically complete your studies, for example, it is 3 years. And unfortunately, you were not able to complete your research work, your thesis within 3 years. So you have to extend it. For extending it, so your funding was for 3 years only if you were funded. And if you're self-funded, then too, it was planned for 3 years only. But because you were unable to complete your research in 3 years, you have to extend it for 1 more year or like for a few more months. For that, you have to pay extra fee, which is called the continuation fee.
Understood.
So that for waiving of that fee, we ran this campaign because there were many research students who have to continue now because they were impacted previously by COVID. So that was the reason we were running this campaign, and yeah, that was quite a big win, getting the fund of £90,000. And then we ran on these projects I was only leading. So then I ran a campaign on building up the family study room in the library. So now from next academic year, we will be having a family study room in the library.
Okay.
Then I was running a campaign so I also have volunteers working for me on the ground level, because for me to collect the ground level information is very difficult. There are so many cohorts, so many courses, so many departments.
Or a large student base for whom you need to cater.
Yes. So I have approximately 500 academic reps working for me on the ground level in different courses.
Okay.
So they report directly to me, or to the faculty reps. We have 3 faculty reps in 3 different faculties: sciences, social sciences, and arts and humanities. And then I sit at the top who attends. So after I receive all the reporting from the ground level, then I take all those views to the higher committees. So that's how it works. It's kind of a hierarchy-based system.
Understood. So you're working for this particular student union. What were the major challenges that the students as such faced? Specifically, I would ask about the international students. What are the different challenges that they would be facing?
So as I mentioned earlier as well about this, one of the major challenges these students face is their academic life, the academic part of their life, which I think is very, very different from India. For example, if a student is from India, it is very, very different. If it is similar to their country, then they're quite comfortable. They can easily cope up with it. But if it is different from their country, then it is very difficult for them. As I mentioned an example, India. So from Indian education system, UK education system is very different. We have over here closed book examinations. Over there, they have open book examinations. Although they are also shifting towards closed book, but in COVID, they made all the examinations open book, and assignments will forever remain open book only in UK. So coping up from one system to another, student takes a lot of time, and in taking all those times, they don't get good grades in first few examinations until they have some experience. Also, they tend to fail sometimes, which brings a lot of problem because your academic issues are bringing you a lot of problem because there are a lot of things on stake when you are an international student. Your finances, your well-being, your whole process, your whole life gets disturbed if you get failed in one subject. You're on visas. The most important part is, so if you fail your studies, you won't be allowed to stay back or to apply for a graduate visa or something. You will be directly deported if you fail your program. In that case, if you fail one or two modules, then you get a chance to reset. But yeah, I think academic life is one of the thing in which students struggles, and with that comes all the other problems if they are struggling with academics.
Understood. So you have done your major task in this particular student life. Now, what next lies for you? What is the plan that you're having after this particular role? Maybe if you can do that, and maybe one more last question before we end the session. Yeah.
Definitely. For now, the plans are I already started building up my resume, getting all the recommendations from everywhere for myself because I have to apply for corporates now. And get into my own finance sector from which I started, and I actually did a lot of work from the scratch in this same sector, so I will be continuing with that only. Yeah, so that was pretty much. I do not know where it will take me right now because I'm just it's a black room. I do not know what's going to happen, but yeah, I will be starting applying for the corporate jobs in the near future. In finance sector, possibly with the consulting firms or with the banking firms. Okay. That's the plan.
Okay. So as a last question, what would be your advice to the newly coming international students or aspiring students who would like to come to UK and then get their studies going? A couple of good advices that you can give from your experience?
So the first advice I'll give is to complete all your process on time, for whether it is accommodation, whether it's your visa, because I myself, I did everything on the very end moment and it gave me a lot of anxiety, whether my visa will come on time or not, whether I'll miss my flight, what will happen with my accommodation. Although during those times, it was a bit different because both the countries were struggling with COVID and all of that. But yeah, I'll advise everybody to complete all your process on time and stay free with your mind because it is very important. And UK is not very different from India. It is quite same. I do not know about other countries, but yeah, UK is very, very much similar to India. So don't hesitate to approach people for help, whether you are in India or in UK. Stay outgoing. Try to not, even if you are not an extrovert, try to at least become an ambivert. That will help you a lot with your career if you are going to be an international student, because you have to approach people to take help. You cannot do everything by yourself and do all the research by yourself. You need some shortcuts. You need somebody to tell you to apply for national insurance on time so that you can apply for part-time jobs on time. Because if you'll find that out by yourself, it will take many months. So that is one of the things. And then the second advice I'll give is read all the policy paper of the university for the program for which you have applied. That will really help you a lot with your academics. Read the assessment policy, specifically exceptional circumstances policy, all the policies which can help you with your academics. Read all of that carefully.
Got it. Okay. So I think one more note I think I want to add from this session is also read your university newsletters and newspapers so that you'll get a lot of new opportunities. Okay, so on that note, thank you very much, Ekansh, for this wonderful session, sharing your experience of your student journey, your journey of being a student ambassador or a student leader in that very large institution, and then becoming a leader whom other students can look up to, and helping them a lot in multiple ways that you couldn't have imagined so far. So all the best for your next step and your full-time career. Have a good one.
Thank you so much, Georgie. Have a good day.